Hello, everyone. Welcome to T's World of Beautiful Ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into our channel. And we are on Conversation Friday. We are having a conversation on a Friday, and I would really appreciate your comments in the comment section below so that we can keep these conversations, going on, the engagement also going on in the comment section. If you're new here, please remember to subscribe to this channel so that you get notified every time I upload a video, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a video. Danko. Okay, we're talking about a very nice bone to chew today. We're talking personalities, right? I just want to go into my understanding of these personalities, and then we'll get into what Google says, the definition on Google, and then have a conversation from there, right? If you are a psychologist or you did psychology and you're doing something else, but you have knowledge around, personalities, please do engage us in the comment section below so that we can keep these conversations going, right? Okay. Before we get into a lot of things, I just want to say something in Xhosa, and I hope I don't butcher this. If I do, my Xhosa speaking people, please do have mercy on me. I'm still learning this language. Yes. Dinleve ijesi yakatatuam. I feel like I said it nice. I said it correct, right? So we are rolling. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get into the conversation. So we have, I think there are 4 categories of personalities, and the first one, or rather one of them in no particular order, is introverted, introverted people. We also have extroverted people, and then we also have introverted extroverts, right? When I checked Google, it actually put this 2 as one, but I separated it because I have some sort of a definition from my own understanding, of course. Like I said, this is just a conversation that we are having. If you have a different view or different knowledge, please kindly inform us in the comment section below. Don't be rude, ne? Yeah, the world could do with many nice people right now. And I know you're one of them. Of course, you're going to be nice in those comment section. Yes. Okay. So I then divided it into extroverted introverts and introverted extroverts, right? Cool. Let's go into the definition of things. According to my understanding, an introverted individual is somebody that really keeps to themselves, that is not as outgoing, that is not stimulated by, external things, or rather being around a lot of people, or even being around people. They always want to, be by themselves, and they enjoy their space that way. They don't have a problem with anybody. They are not angry. They are not sad. They're not going through the most abagoishi. They are just fine. Those are introverted people. They can be very quiet, extremely quiet. Like most of them are very, very quiet, but some may be shy, some may not be shy. If you offend them, like, they would not say anything. They would leave you and just let you be, and they will deal with whatever offense it is alone in their own time, because they have all the time they could get to digest whatever situation that just happened. You get introverted individuals would just be all by themselves and go through the matter. They live so much in their own mind, and they would digest the matter, and get to the bottom of it, and still feel like close the case, right? And then there is a category of human beings that are extroverted. These are your outgoing individuals that actually like being around people, like talking, that can be loud. Some extroverted individuals can be might not be loud, some might be loud, so it differs from, you know, adaptation as to what they got adapted to from their upbringing or the environment that they grew up in. But most of them are very loud individuals. Yes, they are, you know, outspoken. They speak their mind. They don't have a problem with, you know, speaking their mind. If you offend these ones, they will tell you where to get off immediately, with immediate effect. So with extroverted people, not that they don't have the time to, we'll get into that some other time, we'll talk about it, but mostly the people that have more time to digest what happens in their lives and the situations that they encounter are introverted, versus, like, in comparison to extroverted individuals, right? Because you pretty much can revisit what happened if you are alone most times than when you are around people. But with extroverts, they do it kind of differently. They revisit a matter in a talking session. You get me? Because they are naturally people that talk. They mostly cough out the offense through talking. You get me? Through talking in a safe space, or in a space that they deem safe. It might not be the case that it's a safe space, like for real, but if they personally deem it as a safe space at that particular time, they're definitely going to talk about whatever issue that they were not comfortable with and digest it in that manner. Yes, so the first one, introverts, they are 100% introverts. Like, there is no confusion about them, right? Like, when you see them, you will know that, oh my God, he or she is an introvert, right? By the characteristics that I just mentioned earlier. Cool. Now we have introverted extroverts. I like these two categories because, you know, I think I'm one of them. Yeah, I think I fall under one of them, right? These introverted extroverts are people that are naturally born extroverts. 100% when they were born, their nature is extroverted, right? But they had to adapt their introverted nature or personality or introverted characteristics as a result of their environment, the environment they were brought up in or they grew up in. You know, it can be at school, it can be an environment at home, it can be an environment in the playground, it can be an environment in the church space, it can be like an environment. It's not necessarily, or rather, when I say their upbringing, I'm not necessarily referring to how their parents treated them only. That's why I had to just give you the different places where children can be impacted and their personalities can then get redefined, you know, into a new character trait that they were not 100% born with. That's why I say we have extroverted, which are 100% naturally extroverts, who happen to have adapted to introverted characteristics and personalities because of one of the environments or all of these environments that they are growing up in, taming them or pushing them to adapt to that particular character trait or characteristics or personality trait, right? We most likely have a lot of introverted extroverts. But I feel like, or I think it's seldom the case that we have extroverted introverts. The reason for that is that when a person is 100% born introverted, right? Like their nature is introvert, like 100% they're an introvert. even if, we put them in environments that require them to adapt to the extroverted characteristics, they still pretty much default to their introverted nature most times, because they are isolated people. Like, they don't, energy of a lot of people drains them. Like, it takes everything in them. It takes a lot for them to adapt to that kind of a nature, right? Hence, I say we seldom have a lot of, extroverted introverts. But for the introverted extroverts, we have a lot of those because of so many challenges that are there in life, which tame, or rather makes extroverted individuals to acclimatize to an introverted personality or a characteristic or character, right? Cool. Let's say, so I'm just going to go into conditions that might make one who was born 100% an extrovert get adapted to the introverted nature, right? Let's say, for example, children that are their only child to their parents mostly get adapted to becoming introverts, right? Even though they were born, even though they might have been born naturally like 100% extroverts, but because they are the only child in their household, and maybe conditions like they are not allowed to go play outside, or the environment is too uptight, children don't play in the yards, that can lead to, children becoming who were born extroverted, getting adapted to an introverted characteristic or personality, right? Another example of an extroverted child that gets adapted to an introverted characteristic or personality is one where a child gets born, and as they are growing, before you know it, they get taken out of the family to go and stay somewhere else with parents of somebody else, like of other children, right? Or maybe they go and stay with their granny, or just get separated from their parents. That separation can lead to a child, who was born an extrovert, getting to adapt to the personalities and character traits of an introvert, right? Another example that might, cause an extroverted child, naturally born extroverted, to become introverted is bullying. Bullying isolates a child. So what I'm picking now that is a common factor that causes many children or many people to become introverted extroverts is the act of isolation. Yes, so the act of isolation has that impact on a child or even an adult, right? You can, I'm not saying this only happens with children, but you only get to see characteristics of, introverted extroverts when you are kind of, in your youth or your adulthood stage, and that's when you're like, oh, what am I, so yeah, I think it's worth, having a conversation about, so that when a person, happens to just be kind of like concerned about, am I extroverted or am I introverted, or like what really happening with me, they may be able to look into this kind of examples that I'm giving to say, oh, this happened as a result, I adapted to this, and decide from there as to whether they are going to strengthen their extroverted nature and become as extroverted as they can be, or continue with their introverted adapted nature and just live their best life, or continue with both of them, balancing each other out where possible and where necessary, right? Because yeah, you have three choices. I mean, you are rich. Okay, so yes, like I said, one of the common denominator as I look at these incidences is isolation, right? Okay, cool. And then another aspect that might, contribute to an extroverted, naturally born extroverted individual adapting to introverted characteristics or personality is parent separation. When parents separate, that has, something it does to children, and it plays a huge number on a child that, would lead to that kind of an adaptation, right? They adapt to being introverts even though they were extroverts, right? We can have a conversation on how that, makes a child adapt to that. I mean, if you're a psychologist in this and you're watching this, please let's engage in the comment section below. Even if you're not a psychologist, but you have, an understanding of how this happens or how this works, you know, and you've seen it maybe with, children, or with yourself, or with your adults around you, we can have a conversation in the comment section below. Yes, so trying to think of any other, but yeah, bullying is one of them. Like, if you know your child is very extroverted, like in nature, like they're outgoing, you'll see the characteristics. They manifest when they are still young, where at any stage of life they manifest, right? Like you can see that, oh, this one is, they like being in front of people, they like singing, they're like center of attention, those kind of things. They don't mind being the center of attention, right? Not that they want attention too much, because you pretty much would know as a parent that I'm giving my child all the attention they require. Even at home, they're still performing, like, that type of thing. So you will see from that, whenever you start seeing your child isolate, that's when you should intervene and have a conversation with the child. Ask them if they were bullied, or especially bullying. Like, bullying is so common in, their level. At any level, yes, but in their level, it happens, and they feel so helpless. They feel like they can't defend themselves, they can't, fight back and all that. So they really need you as a parent to reach out to them whenever you identify that their energy is no longer the same as, the old energy, unless otherwise they were just going through a phase, right? Anyways, I don't want to get into motherhood and whatnot. We're still on the conversation about introvertedness and extrovertedness, or introverted extroverts, or introverted extroverts. Eh? Yes, extroverted introverts and extroverted introverts and introverted extroverts. Thank God. Okay, so for children that were born, or people that were born naturally or 100% introverted, right? And adapted to extroverted personality or characteristics. These are some of the conditions that might, contribute to them becoming or adapting to, the extroverted characteristics. One of the examples might be, or conditions might be, like child-headed families, right? Child-headed families, I recently got a definition of it, that it's not mainly referring to, or strictly referring to, a family with many children. Child-headed families actually refers to families with many people in it. So you can have mother, father, children, right? Maybe 3 children, and uncle, cousin, granny, aunt, So now it's a family of 8, and your parents just have 3 children, So with that, if you are an introvert by nature, right? If you're 100% born an introvert and you grow up around these many personalities, like every human being in the family has their own personality, right? So you might just happen to be the only one that is introverted. And in that kind of a setup, they have energy. Remember, I explained how extroverted people are. They have energy for days. They're excited every day. You're also excited, but you don't express your excitement the same way as an introvert, right? As the extroverted people express themselves. They are loud. They are always, wanting to talk and all that and all that. So it leads to you having to adapt, right, to the character traits that you are always exposed to. I mean, 24/7 you're exposed to these people. You're obviously going to have to enter into the law of adaptation. You end up having to adapt to that particular a personality environment, because it gets to a point where you ask yourself, am I okay? Am I normal? Like, everybody is always, hey, blah, 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 and you're like, or sometimes you don't even laugh. Like, they are good listeners. Again, something to note about introverted individuals that are 100% born introverts, they're good listeners. Extroverts, not in a bad way, but most times you don't want to listen, right? Yes, most extroverted people don't listen because they like talking. So listening and talking cannot be done at the same time, right? So you always have to keep quiet for the next person to talk so that you can listen to them. But if you like talking, then it's a challenge. You get where that they are challenged. Yes, so introverted people are very quiet and can be good listeners, but sometimes they zone out. But we'll touch that one on some other, like some other day. So when you are growing up in a child-headed family, it can be that your parents have a lot of children and they all stay in the same house, and you happen to be introverted by nature, and now you have to adapt to the energy, you have to adapt to the characteristics that they have. So you end up adopting some personalities. You end up, like, maybe when you talk loudly, and maybe you start talking too much, even though it drains you, but it's something that you adapt to doing, right? And when you go to spaces that are not child-headed, or that have few people, that's when that character comes out and you feel good. Those children who feel so good, I'm like, they'll be like, oh, what a heaven. I love going to Gogo's place. Why? Because it's chilled there. You get such answers. They'll be saying, because it's quiet there. Is it not quiet at home? It is quiet. They won't say it's not quiet. Most times introverted children don't speak their mind a lot. Like, they don't like disappointing people or making people feel sad. They always want to be like, they will lie to you nicely. Introverted, they will lie to you, you look beautiful. I'm kidding, not in a spiteful way, but yes, they would not want to disappoint their parents, of course, to say their house is not peaceful, or it's not chilled, right? So if you fall under any of those categories, please be very gentle with yourself. In another video some other time, we'll talk about how to maneuver. Yeah, we will try to talk about how to maneuver your way around, you know, living a life in a world where you have two characteristic categories that you function in, right? Because I mean, it can be a very serious challenge. Yes, because you look at people that are introverted, they are understood by everyone. Oh, that one is quiet, shame. And then there's you. This introverted extrovert, or this extroverted introvert, is she or he quiet? Is she, it gives confusing vibes, right? But I want us now to get into the dictionary definitions. So the dictionary says, or rather Google says, introverted people are those who focus on their inner world of thoughts and feelings and are energized by solitude, so they like being alone, and quiet environments. So quiet environments like make them, happy. It stimulates them. That's why you would find a child saying, I like going to Gogo's place. Why? It's chilled there. You're like, bro, what do you mean it's chilled there? Because you are extroverted and you somewhat do not catch, the child's drift. You get it? Yes, you have to try to pick the signs as early as possible so that you don't drown the child in your own personality or your own character traits. Yes, so solitude energizes them, and quiet environments energizes them. And then it says, okay, I'll read that again. And are energized by solitude and quiet environments rather than external stimulation. You get it? So external things don't stimulate them. Their joy is from within, like it's like inside out. Yes. And then it says they are often thoughtful, introspective. Okay, let me touch on the thoughtful one. They are thoughtful in the sense that if mommy says, what do you mean it's chilled at Gogo's place, it's cool at Gogo's place, is it not cool at home, is it not chilled at home? They are thoughtful in the sense that they will say it's also chilled at home. But truly speaking, now that your house is very goo for this child's character. You get, for this child's personality. So you always have to be mindful of the kind of personality trait that God gave him or her so that you accommodate it as well. If you can't accommodate it because you are pretty much a loud nation, allow her or him to have that space to herself or to himself. Trust me, they are not angry, sad, or feeling any type of way. They are happy. They are at their happiest, like the definition says. Solitude energizes them. Quiet environments energizes them. So with quiet environments, you can at least try to have 1 or 2 days during the week where you don't like talk too much, with them, like just yes. You try also not to play loud music, like just try to give them the environment that energizes them, that makes them feel good, that makes them feel like, whoo, I'm at home finally. You get, yes, that type of vibe. And then it says they are introspective, so they always remember at the beginning I said when they are offended by someone, they will not confront that person. They'll go back, live in their own mind, check themselves, like introspect. Did I say anything? No. Did I do anything that made that person behave that way? No. Why did that person behave that way? Okay, it's pretty much a them problem and not a me problem. But if it's a them, like if it's a me problem type of a thing, as an introverted person, then they will say, oh, actually when I said that, it triggered them in the sense, and it led them to behaving in the certain way, you get. And they will then correct that particular thing that they did which triggered the next person. Next time they won't repeat it. That's how introspective they are, right? Yes. And they also prefer one-on-one interactions. Yes, they prefer one-on-one interactions more than like group, like a very big group interactions, or friendship groups never work for these ones. Please cut them a slack when it comes to that. Okay, so they prefer one-on-one interactions or small groups over large crowds. So they don't prefer large crowds at all. They prefer small groups. Small groups is like a number of 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 can be pushing it, eh? But yeah, it depends also on what the person has gotten adapted to. And if they've gotten adapted to 6 being a small number, that's them. You always just have to understand the one that you are interacting with. Guti, this one, what is a small number for you? You know, what is a one-on-one for you? Like one-on-one is me and you, okay, sharpo. But small group, what does small group mean to you as an introverted person? You get it? Yes. And you can actually have a very beautiful relationship. They are so loving, man. Okay, let me not get into that. We're still on the definition, right? Cool. And then it says introversion is different from shyness, as it stems from a preference for less stimulation, not a fear of social situations. Okay, I think this is correcting what I said initially when I said some can be shy, some might not be shy, right? It says here introversion is different from shyness. So they're not shy, right? It's different. When you're an introvert, you're not shy. So shyness can be in introverts and also in extroverts. Okay, cool. So as introversion stems from a preference, it's a preference, but it's a naturally embedded preference. You get me? Because these people are born with this thing. They naturally get stimulated by small groups or one-on-one type of a situation, solitude or quiet environments. You get it? So it stems from a preference for less stimulation. Like if you look at solitude, it's a less stimulating type of an environment, right? Than when you bring a lot of people in one space. Oh my God, all of them are talking. Oh God, who do I listen to? Who do I not listen to? Type of thing, right? Yeah, so it stems from less stimulation. So they require less stimulation, not a fear of social situations. So they're not afraid of socializing. And I want to address a lot of us. I think I'm also a culprit. Yes, to a certain extent, a lot of us tend to say, when we meet introverted individuals, tend to say they are antisocial. Please, can we erase that statement? It's not a nice thing. They are very much social, the same way extroverts are very much social, but they get stimulated by different things. Extroverts get stimulated by crowds, while introverts get stimulated by solitude and quiet environment. So obviously, in a quiet environment, you cannot have 10 people. Unless if they are very orderly, those 10 people. Yeah, unless if they are very orderly, I mean, 10 people in one environment. Like when this one is talking, all the 9 are listening. Ooh, Jehovah, what an order. Yes, introverts can actually have that kind of an environment. They can create it for themselves because they know they want that and they know it stimulates them. But if we have introvert, extrovert, and introverts in one environment, 10, it won't be quiet. Cool. Okay, let's go to extroverted. So an extroverted person is someone who draws energy and inspiration from social interactions, right? They want to interact, and external experiences, outgoing. You know, this type. Yes, they're always ready for the road. They're always ready to go places with, different people, experience places with different people, rather than from time spent alone. They don't like being alone. Ne? Yes. Extroverts are often described as outgoing, talkative, and enthusiastic, right? Yes. I say introverted people can also be outgoing, but they have it their own time. Yes, so you just have to know what is outgoing, or the meaning of outgoing for them. Like, what is a definition of outgoing for them? What do they regard as outgoing, And then you can live in peace with them, because you're gonna come across them, you're gonna live with them, you're gonna interact with them. So just create an environment that is very accommodative for them, right? Cool. Extroverted tend to thrive in group settings, enjoying social events and making new friends. Yeah, they make new friends. They make new friends. I don't know how many friends those people would have when you walk with them in town. Everyone is greeting them. Hello, hi, hello. And when you would have just been greeted by one person or no one, because you're introverted. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself. You're not anything bad. You are just naturally created like that. You don't make new friends all the time. It's not a bad thing, right? So extroverted people make new friends a lot of the times, if not every day. All right, so we now move to the category that Google, the internet, puts as one, right? So it says extroverted introverts or ambiverts, right? Ambiverts or ambiverts are people, that's another term that they use to refer to extroverted introverts or introverted extroverts, right? Are people who have a mix of both introverted and extroverted traits, often enjoying social interactions, but also needing time alone to recharge. The way Google puts it does not tally with how I put it. You can tell, right? If you paid attention to my definition of extroverted introverts and introverted extroverts. It says they have dual characteristics. Like they have this dual personality, right? They enjoy social spaces, social interactions. They can be loud and also need time alone to recharge. So their battery is, their battery gets depleted. You get, sorry to say this if it sounds off, but their battery gets depleted. So they constantly need to isolate themselves, be all by themselves, and then recharge. And then when they go out to a social space, they would be fully charged, and then it's go. Hey, yes, my friend. After that, they want to be alone. Type of vibe, right? So it's important to actually understand and know those kind of people. Live with them peacefully, right? They are adaptable, can be very social in certain situations, and value meaningful connections over constant popularity. Yes, so the dictionary says, or Google says, unlike pure introverts or pure extroverts, they are comfortable in social settings, but also appreciate, I love how it puts it, appreciate quiet and independent work. Guys, that is it with conversations on a Friday. And I hope this definitions of personalities really helps you understand yourself better, understand your people better, understand people in your community, in your, sphere of contact and anywhere else, right? Better, right? And even the people you see on television, you'll be able to now understand, oh, that's why this one is like this. Oh, because quite a lot of times you tend to hear a celebrity, a well celebrated person, like known person, famous person, yes, a famous person coming out to say, I'm not talkative, and people will be like, oh, when yes, they're not talkative. I mean, when you are behind the camera, it's just you and the camera, right? And you can talk your mind all you want and then interact with people. It's on the phone, right? So when you get to meet them, it's then that you can actually know whether they're extroverts or they're introverts, or they're introverted extroverts or extroverted introverts, right? Yes, extroverted introverts or introverted extroverts, right? Yes. I leave you with those thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is T's World of Beautiful Ideas, and we will meet in the next upload. If you haven't subscribed to this channel up to this far, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a video. Please engage us in the comment section below. Yes, I would really love to have a conversation with you guys in the comment section below. And yeah, you can check us on TikTok, Beautiful Ideas, T's World of Beautiful Ideas, and here on YouTube, and also on Instagram. I'm not so much on Instagram as yet, but yeah, you can check us out there. And yeah, we will meet in another Friday conversation whenever we have it. Thank you.